Welcome to Ask Cadence, everybody. My name is Pete Wright. I'm sitting around the Cadence Roundtable with Scott Lissit, Director of Service Delivery of Cadence, and John Patton, CEO of Cadence. And we are picking up a great big conversation that we started last week. And so it's all around OPM3. What is it? John, I wonder if you could kick us off by just refreshing us. What is OPM3?
Okay, Pete. It's a standard which contains 557 best practices in portfolio, program, and project management.
Well, see, when you say it, it sounds so simple.
Took us 5 years among many volunteers at the Project Management Institute to create this, Pete.
But here you are, just tossing it off. Okay, so it sounds so easy, Scott. Why would a company want to invest in implementing some sort of OPM3 initiative?
Well, I think it has great value, and what I would ask senior managers is the following: are you getting the return you want from your portfolio of projects? Are you doing a good job managing projects? Maybe you think you're doing a good job, but you're really not. Now, you may be doing an excellent job now, but can you get even better at it? And so there is a need for an objective standard to assess how well you're doing in your portfolio of programs and projects. And that's why I'm so excited about OPM3.
So it's when you get down to the tactical implementation of OPM3, you know, we talk about all these best practices and all the various qualifications that go into them. Where do you see the real value for organizations in implementing OPM3?
Pete, I'll pick that up. Whenever you ask anybody at any level of any organization, how are you doing? The answer is going to be fine, I guess. Oh, we have ups and downs. So if you get the answer fine, or well, we have room for improvement, the question that comes back is, well, how good are you? Can you prove it? And this is where OPM3 comes in. If you say to an executive, do you have metrics in place that tell you when your project management process is out of control? When a project is ahead of schedule, behind schedule, do you know it precisely? How do you address your continuous improvement of project management in your organization? Because if you want to have a sustained competitive advantage, you've got to get better and better year after year. Now, the great benefit of OPM3, in contrast to previous standards, which had levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you had to conform to all best practices at each level before you got certified, OPM3 allows the executives to select which best practices are best for their business in the coming year, and then put together a plan to implement those same best practices.
And what I really like about it is that initially there's an assessment piece. So you can assess on a scale and against a set of best practices, how are you doing against those? And then the organization can decide which ones are most important to them. And then, as John just said, create an implementation plan for bringing those best practices into the organization. If the organization already has a project management office, it can be coordinated with them, but you don't need a PMO in order to begin implementing some of these best practices that are highlighted by the OPM3 assessment.
Interesting, very organic framework.
Yes, Pete, that's exactly it. As I talk to executives about OPM3, there's invariably a point where we talk about their standardization of project management inside their organization. And a number of these great people I talk to have already documented their project management. But about every 4 to 5 years, they update that document. They make improvements, and it is a huge effort. Now, let's say that standardization is done. When I talk about having metrics in place, almost without exception, each one of these executives has said, yes, that's it. We have standardized, but we're very weak in measures. Without measures, we don't have really good control, and we do not have an annual continuous improvement effort. So with an assessment, which tells you annually how many best practices you have in place versus how many you could have in place, we offer this, those of us who are doing consulting in the business offer to people, well, here is our analysis. Let's now talk about which best practices are the best for your company in the coming year, and what business results do we want to get from the implementation of these best practices. This is something that enables us to have so much more control over improving our ability to change, transform ourselves, and have a sustainable competitive advantage.
Control over the things that matter most to you. That's an important adjustment.
It is so critical to people who want to dominate their business niche.
This has been another great topic. Again, can open up hours and hours more. We will come back and keep plotting through this. Thanks so much for your time, Jensen. We'll see you next week on another Ask Cadence.